The Wednesday week is sponsored by Oddballs, a Speciality. Go to www.oddballsaspeciality.com.
Hi, my name is John Pearson, and I listen to the Wednesday week.
There's a chance here, a great save. Turner from McClare. Right hand. A terrific goal by Sheridan.
Rexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble with saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me on the line, first of all, we've got James. Hi there, James, old boy.
Good evening, my lord.
Good evening, sir. We've got Mr. Fudge. Mr. Fudge, how the devil are you?
I'm not doing well. I took after a 4-year break, I came back out of retirement to kick a football, and I'm now laid in bed, dying. But I'm all right, yeah.
We've got an old Fudge. And we've also got Victoria, the newly engaged Victoria. Congratulations, my dear.
Oh, thank you very much, my lord.
There's hearts breaking all over Sheffield as we speak, my lord.
Yeah, my other halves.
Poor chap. Right, so let's crack straight on with the football. And I think we might have been a little bit optimistic about the Ipswich game last week, boys and girls. A cracking game all round, but what can we say?
Yeah, I had high hopes for the game at Ipswich. I did, and to come away losing is a bitter pill to swallow. However, if you look at the goals themselves, Westwood's just had a stinker of a day, hasn't he? He got beat on his near post and flapped it across, and then gone off injured in inverted bunny rabbit ears. You think, well, can we just chalk that off as a bad goalkeeping performance and then just say we took a 1-0 win had it not been for the stinker, or was it that bad?
All right. Do you want my take on it from being there, which was that you kind of put it down a little bit as a bad day in the office. And do you know what? I mean, I don't know if you'll agree with this or not. It kind of feels a little bit like we needed that game. The good thing that I came away with is that I still felt really positive about things at full time. And the people that I was with also came away still really upbeat about stuff. Because we can get back out on the training ground now and we can put the things right that went wrong. It wasn't a great day for us. McGugan wasn't really up to speed. It wasn't his game. Whether or not that was just a bad day or whether he was marked out of the game, I'm not sure. I think Zhao was promising. At times he was really good. But the overwhelming feeling was just that it was a bit soon for him to be playing in that lone striker role at a place like Ipswich. And he doesn't kind of have the experience or sort of the football knowledge to be able to create chances and score goals in games like that. I think it comes down to the fact that we were playing a Mick McCarthy team. And you know what you're going to get against a Mick McCarthy team. Every time any of our players had the ball, there were 3 players around them. And even like when our back 4 had possession, it felt like they were under pressure. They played the way that you expect a Barnsley Mick team to play. So you come away from it and think, did the system flop? No, not at all. It worked. We had decent possession. I think we had 60-odd% possession. We created chances. And on Sunday, I watched the highlights back, and actually, I kind of thought that we were lucky at times. I thought first half we played really well, but we were playing against a team that just defended brilliantly. The thing for me was that it was obvious that it wasn't working. Partway through the second half, it was obvious that the way we were playing just wasn't working. And what we needed was Carlos to come up with some tactical genius and change it round and find a way for us to win the game. And it wasn't there. But you know what? This group of players has been together for, let's say, a month, 6 weeks at most. And they've not had time yet to work on those different formations and those different systems that can win games when plan A isn't working. And we know we've got players that are good enough to be able to do it. So it's just going to take time. They need to get back on the training pitch today and they need to work on those ways in which that they can still win games when the way we normally play just isn't working. And when you're playing a team that's as good defensively as Ipswich are, it needed us to be more direct. It needed us to be more physical. And as things stand at the moment, we just can't do it. So I think that we take those positives from it and think if we were playing that game again in 3 or 4 months' time, we'd probably come away with something from it. So nothing to be particularly downbeat about. Bad day at the office, didn't really happen for us, but we take the positives.
What about Wallace? Wallace got his goal, took it well. I mean, did he play? Did he have a decent game, or did he? Was it a bit of a flash up? Because I'm very interested to see how the formation plays out this year, how the wingers go with players that we've got fighting for those positions, like Hunt, Yao, probably even Matthias, maybe. I'm really excited about the use of these wingers and Sheffield Wednesday going a little bit continental. It's like going back to Benny Carboni and Paolo Di Canio days. Yeah, the problem is if you're going to play a continental system, when you come up against a team with a manager like Mick McCarthy, who is as old-fashioned a manager as you can get, your continental system is always, you're going to have that risk of the fact it's just not going to work. Wallace had a decent game. He wasn't amazing. He played all right. For whatever reason, it was just one of those days where the crosses into the box really weren't good enough, particularly from set pieces, from corners. We didn't really trouble them as much as we should do. So for various reasons, it didn't really happen. I don't think you could pick on someone like Wallace and say he was poor, because he wasn't. Jack Hunt had a great game, and was probably our best player on the day. But ultimately, even he didn't really create anything special. He didn't create a goal-scoring chance, and it was just one of those days.
Well, I listened to it on the radio. I was devastated when they equalised. I was just celebrating. I was doing my little Ravanelli run around the front room, and then they equalised, and it was a bit of a kick in the teeth because we have been. Hang
on. Didn't Ravanelli used to put his shirt over his head?
Yeah, but I had another shirt on underneath. I wasn't just splashing the whole road.
I'm just wondering about what we're going to be thinking the next time we're playing and we win like 5-0.
No, it was devastating because we were so convinced that we were going to do it. And it's a bit of a reality check, I think. I think we all needed it. Like you said, we all needed that one game that, to be honest, nobody was guaranteeing us a win anyway at Ipswich. We knew it was going to be a tough test.
I was.
But I think that's the reality check that we needed, and probably that Carlos and the team needed. So onwards and upwards.
I think you're right. I think the point of that James made about being able to change the tactics and change the formation is something that Carvalhal needed because like you say, I mean, Barnsley Mick is he's 4-4-2 Sunday League, sticking it, mix it, it's 0-0 lads. Hit it. Do you know what I mean? That kind of Yorkshireness. Do you know what I mean? And having we're going to need a trump card against that. We're going to need something up the sleeve to counteract that, because if that's how it's going to work, there's going to be god-awful stalemate games where we're going to be playing this lovely tick-a-tack, beautiful football and coming up against, a bus.
I think there was some positive to be dragged from the game. I mean, looking at the Wednesday highlights specifically, obviously first couple of minutes, Matthias hit the post with a cracking crossfield ball again from Jack Hunt. Matthias took it beautifully and did everything right, and half an inch one way, and that was it. We were 1-0 up in a couple of minutes there, and there were various bits and bobs. Again, Zhao right at the end of the game. Really, the only thing that saved a draw for him was their keeper, and it pulled up a cracking save. So, again, yes, it's disappointing, but it is what it is, isn't it? We can't really expect to go through the whole season unbeaten, or as nice as it would be. But I think Victoria's right. I think maybe the fans needed a bit of a bring down as well, because I, for one, I'm an excitable chap, ladies and gents, and especially when it comes to my football team. So, chalk it up to experience and move on to the next one, eh? Put it like that.
Was it 7-0 that you predicted in the end?
To be fair, I will predict Reading 7-0 as well.
Okay.
It's and I'm sure
Bit of a theme there. What I would say about Saturday is that I felt a little bit like bringing Kieran Lee on was a bit of a mistake because we weren't really getting anywhere in that game, and seeing the way that Sugu played on Tuesday night, it felt like it was a game where bringing him on could have changed that match for us. That pace and that creativity, and not even necessarily down the wing, kind of play him down the centre, or even just bring him on and give him a bit of a free role. Just say, go out there and win the game for us, or at least get a point for us. And it brings us back to the point, I guess, that it's a system that they've not practiced yet, and I guess that's what we come back to, is that it's still early on, and they've still got a lot to learn, and they've just got to chalk up some more hours on the training pitch to be able to do it. But I just felt that Kieran Lee coming on, he didn't play badly at all, Kieran Lee, when he came on, but it just didn't really change anything. It didn't seem to sway the game in our favour at all.
Absolutely. Again, being all glasses half full, I do think when Joe Wildsmith came on, I mean, they were getting absolute pelters from the Ipswich fans, the old "who are you" chant and all that kind of thing. And to be fair to the lad, he pulled off some cracking saves again. I mean, that's the second game we've seen him, and I'm really impressed with what I've seen so far.
He's a good keeper. Were Ipswich fans actually singing at him? Because I honestly could not hear a single word from any of their three sides of the ground. you couldn't. It was absolutely quiet as anything in there from the Ipswich fans. No, he had a good game, wasn't he? And it's there's just something about having a player that you know is a Wednesday fan that just gives them that little bit more, isn't there? It just means that bit more. It's that bit more special. So I'm pleased for him, actually. He played well, made a couple of decent saves, and you know, if I don't think it's totally clear yet what the situation is with Westwood. If he's out for 2 or 3 games, yeah, I think it'll be nice for Wildsmith to get a chance.
I just think for a 19-year-old lad as well, he's quite big for a keeper. I think you tend to find, like, I mean, you guys all know, but from 19 to 23 sort of thing, lads fill out and become like a manly sort of shape. And he's not actually that small or weedy. He looks like, you know, if he's going to grow anymore, brilliant. He'll fill the goal.
19 years old.
19.
Crikey. That's unbelievable. I've got socks older than that chap. No, he did very, very well. I'm really impressed with him, and as James said, with him in a Wednesday night, it's always nice to see. Again, looking at the actual stats from the game, one of the things that does sort of poke out at me there is the fouls. 16 fouls from Ipswich, rather more aggressive than I thought they were going to be. And again, going back to the actual fans, they're an aggressive bunch, really, the Tractor boys and girls. I don't know if you, again, saw that, James, or heard it, should I say, giving Westwood a slow hand clap when he's laid on the floor injured when we're losing. Why on earth would we be trying to waste time when we're losing? And are they a bit mixed up down there? Was it a bit of a backwards area there, James?
Of course it is. Has anybody been there? You get away from the the spine of the country right down the middle. The other week I was in Plymouth, and then I used to go on holiday to the Norfolk Broads and that way on, and there's literally sod all else there to do apart from shout at outsiders. It reminds me of that old League of Gentlemen sketch. It's a local stuff for local people. You know what I mean? Who's this, Tubbs? There's nothing for you here.
You're not wrong at all. It's the first time I've ever been to Ipswich. And I've been to Norwich a couple of times, and in my head I kind of thought Ipswich is going to be a bit like Norwich, but it's really not. And if you think back to you remember the TV show Keeping Up Appearances, if Norwich is a bit like Hyacinth Bouquet, then Ipswich is Onslow. It's a bit crap, but the thing is, you sort of find yourself liking it a little bit.
Yeah, how many pints did you have, James?
Yeah, enough. Do you know my favourite part of the day? And I did tweet a photo of this, and I thought it was brilliant, is that they have a shop in the middle of Ipswich town centre, which is called Department Store. It's not Debenhams, it's not House of Fraser, it's just Department Store. That's the name of it.
Well, that's that no-nonsense tractor boy mentality, that is right there. You know what I mean?
Worst thing, they don't sell beer at half-time. What is that all about?
Word.
Christ.
It's about...
We were worried about the Ipswich fans. Jesus, what did our lot do with that?
It's about the third time in the last 10 years that I've actually witnessed a half-time. It was so boring. There was a guy going around the edge of the pitch with a big bazooka firing into the crowd. I thought, this could liven it up. But no,
Firing what into the crowd?
it was just T-shirts. That's all it was. T-shirts from their main sponsor, firing them into the crowd.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Somebody's going to have to explain this to me. Now, I appreciate that, a lot of people all in one space, being a bit tanked up in a pressure cooker like football can create a certain atmosphere, shall we say. Now, what do you think we're going to do? I mean, what damage can I possibly do with the lid off a Powerade bottle? I mean, what I went to the NFL a couple of times last year, and I got obliterated. I was sat on the stands with a beer. Now, why is this not been looked at again? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Calm down.
It really winds me up because it would be so much more entertaining, for that bit when it gets to like 75 minutes and it's a tentative affair and you start looking around at the scoreboard and start thinking, I wouldn't wear my hair like that, princess. Look at the state of you. And then bloody hell, mate, just shave it off because I can just see the back of your head and you're desperately clinging onto that. Just shave it, mate. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, at that point, I'd love a lovely beer. That's what I'd enjoy right there.
Well, I had absolutely no idea what the hell you were talking about for the majority of that.
I think every
He likes beer.
every week we're going to have a rant about fudge and beer. Quite simply, it's going to happen. Right, so let's put the Ipswich game to bed. We'll chalk that up, and again, I think there's still optimism around the place. I don't think we're too downhearted yet, but we shall see what's what. Oh no. Jeeves, we're going to need some more equipment.
Then you need to speak to Oddballs, a speciality.
What the?
Oddballs, a speciality deal in steel, food, and engineering equipment.
Where's that voice coming from?
We offer great deals on all types of equipment and can include dismantling, delivery, and erection anywhere in the world.
Did he just say erection?
We can also buy your surplus equipment or sell it on commission. With over 30 years' experience, let us achieve the best deal for you.
Where can I find out more, Voice in the Sky?
Go to www.oddballsaspeciality.com.
You heard him, folks. Jeeves, get a broom. One thing that did make me a little bit downhearted this week is some of the birthdays of ex-Wednesday players. First of all, Benny Carboni was 44 years old this week, which made me feel incredibly old.
He'd still do for me. Benny, I'm not officially married yet, so a ring can come off, mate. A ring can come off. Give me a call.
I tell you what, Victoria. Last week it was Carlos. Yeah, yesterday it was your other half, and today it's Benny Carboni. You're not fussy, are you, darling?
No.
Fudge, how rude. But no,
I'm not gonna lie. No, I'm not.
I'm sure your other half will love to hear that. Your wonderful betrothed. But no, obviously, there is mixed views about Benny Carboni. Of course, nobody can deny he was an absolutely belting player. Obviously, the way his exit from the club was rather controversial, of course, which I'm sure we all know about. But and a lot of Wednesdayites sort of cling to that as well. But we can't argue with it. Really, he was a cracking player, wasn't he?
I loved him. I even started wearing tuba grip on my wrist as a kid on the park. Just because I wanted to be Benny Carboni. I grew my hair when he did. I shaved it off when he did. Albeit he looked a lot better than I did with a skinhead. I was just walking ears and nose. Do you know what I mean? But I had that awful gangly body. Actually, I used to look like, Di Maria, who played for Manchester last year. I looked like him as a teenager. It was the awkward, gangly teenage body that he's got. Yeah, that was me. Imagine that in a Wednesday shirt with curtains haircut. That's me. Tuba grip.
And if Benny made me feel old, being 44, another birthday this week in the ex-Wednesday Players Lounge was Paul Williams, who was 50 years old this week. Paul Williams, he'll always be a tiny little boy to me. Obviously, I've never felt as old in my life, James.
That's great. We were on about this the other night, weren't we? About Paul Williams has to go down in that category of one of the most underrated players to ever play for Sheffield Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Him and David Hurst together were just brilliant. He worked so hard, Paul Williams, and thinking of some of the memories I've got of that. We all remember the Rumbelows Cup final when he went in for that challenge with Les Sealy and was laid out for however long.
Absolutely.
And I always remember the goal that he scored, and I can't remember who it was against. It might have been against Bristol City, or it might have been against Chelsea. It was one of the big games of that season where I can't remember if it was either the game against Bristol City when we won promotion back to the old First Division, or the cup semi-final against Chelsea where he chipped the keeper from the edge of the area. It was just
a cup semi-final. Absolutely.
Was it the cup semi-final? It was a perfect goal.
It was the last
brilliant
goal of many of that cup semi-final.
Yeah. That was a crazy semi-final as well, wasn't it? But Paul Williams was a quality footballer and never really kind of got the recognition that he deserved.
Absolutely. I think we had a message from a chap over on Twitter, Golfnut over there on Twitter, who said basically that Williams was doing Hursty's running for him, really. You'll notice a lot of the goals that Hursty scored came from Paul Williams, and he was just a belting player, and as James said, incredibly underrated.
He also reminds me of that old yellow away kit that we had, which is the best kit that we've ever had at Sheffield Wednesday, so I love him for that.
Now, that's another subject for another day, old boy, definitely.
No, that's not for debate. That's fact. That is the best kit we've ever had.
Of course, Victoria, I believe you're too young to remember Paul.
I am. I started going to the matches in about, I think it was 89-90 season, but I was literally in a blanket. It just saved on getting a babysitter, so they just took me with them. I've sat in the same seat for 27 years. But yeah, my memories seem to start about 94 onwards, proper memories. So
again, I'm feeling old again. Why did you do this to me? Right, so of course, the next thing that we've got for today is we're going to have a little laugh at the Blades, I'm afraid. I know we try not to talk to them about them too much, but we can't let this one slide by. Sky Sports put a great big whopping Carlos Tevez poster right smack outside Bromwell Lane, of course in a West Ham shirt. I have never laughed as much in my entire life.
Right, that cannot, and if Sky come out and say complete accident, sorry about that, I'm sorry, but that's just utter nonsense. There is no way that's an accident. Honest, I think it's beautiful. David Garrido probably put it up there himself. And I wonder what it looks like now.
It's a good point.
They've taken it down. They replaced it that very night, I'm afraid, with one of Beckham.
Boo.
They had too many complaints and too many people threatening to leave Sky. So Rupert Murdoch was quaking in his little boots and thought, you know what? If we lose those 5 subscribers, that's it. So it's now David Beckham.
I mean, surely though, all right, yeah, if the Sheffield United fans were leaving Sky, the more that Sky gained that day from the Wednesday fans, surely balanced it out. Because, we're bigger, better, louder. But, loved it.
I thought it was hilarious. I genuinely thought it was a hoax. And then I saw the Star tweeted it, and I just couldn't believe it. It was just absolutely brilliant. And the fact that it was that goal as well. It was that very goal that sent them. It was just fantastic. I mean, they must have had to dig through the archives to find that. Because it's not, to be honest, that's another thing that proves that it's not an accident. It's not really a very memorable goal for anyone outside of West Ham, Man United, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United. No one else remembers it. So somebody has thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to risk my job. And fair play to them. Hats off. Brilliant.
I was genuinely considering removing Sky Sports from my television service up until that very day. And I thought, I'll leave it another week. That's worth 30 quid of anybody's money. So, yes, fantastic. Jolly well done, Sky chaps. Right, so we've had an email flood in, ladies and gentlemen. We've had one email flood in from expat Steve Turner, who's living out in the Pacific Northwest area of the USA. He's been out there since 1993. Of course, we do ask for your correspondence, and if you are an owl abroad, or, of course, within the UK, we'd love to hear from you at twwpodcast@gmail.com. Steve's emailed us with far too much praise for the show. Thanks for that, Steve. And just mentioning that this is the most optimistic he's been about a Wednesday season since he moved there. And I think that Carlos has got the makings of being a bigger managerial legend than Ron Atkinson.
Ooh, I mean, controversial.
It's a big shout, that. Do you think we're seeing the beginning of something special, specifically with Carlos?
I'd put money on it now that he won't be here at the end of the season.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I just think, it's nice to be. Maybe it's this Ipswich game. It's just killed me off. But I think it's nice to be optimistic. It's nice to think things. But average 10 years, 10 months? I think they said on Football Focus at the weekend, and so far it's not looking that exciting. And I think he will need to bring someone in who can play sexy football, but can also do a Mick McCarthy with it as well. And I do think that's what we're going to lack this season.
We've only lost one game.
I know.
And you got engaged yesterday. You're supposed to be happy.
Am I really?
She's still on go over. She's still on go over.
Spend the rest of her life with a Bradford City fan.
Yeah. And she's upset that it's not Benny or Carlos.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So she's just,
or Atty.
Or Atty.
There's a list.
We don't know.
To be fair,
tuned, folks.
The original plan last season, we went to a pre-season game. I can't think who it was now, and New Hugh played. And I was sat with my mum and my other half, and my other half said, "Do you know what? He's garbage, him. He's absolutely awful." He said, "If he gets 20 goals this season, I'll propose to you on the pitch." And when it started getting to double figures, I was absolutely crapping myself that if, like, my children asked one day, "Oh, how come you and Daddy got engaged?" Well, I tell you, New Hugh scored 20 goals for Sheffield Wednesday. No. So luckily, he's off the hook now.
What, because he thought, sod it, we'll just do it anyway?
Yeah, he said, "I'm not going to wait forever." It was like, "You're getting on a bit. Come on, we'll just do it now. We'll not wait for Atty."
That's a much better story for the children, to be fair.
Yeah, but Atty, if you get 20 this season, I want you in my groomsmen at my wedding.
I'm so glad you said groomsmen.
If Atty scores 20 goals this season, I'll propose to him. It's not good. He was terrible on Saturday when he came on. It's not going to happen.
Oh, bless old Atty. Right, so yes, thank you very, very much, Steve, for getting in touch. Appreciate that. And we did have another email come through as well from Nev Wright over there from the Wednesday Cricket Club. The Wednesday Cricket Club have got an event coming up, the Tom Martin Trophy, which is basically a fun day for all involved, and trying to raise a bit of money for Sheffield Children's Hospital as well. Luckily, I managed to get hold of Nev on the old blower and had a little chat, and rather than me sort of babbling all this on, we got it from the horse's mouth. Here's Nev. Okie doke, so on the line with me now, we've got Nev from the Wednesday Cricket Club, and he's going to have a bit of a chat about an event they've got coming up. Nev, pleased to meet you, old boy.
Oh, thank you, your lordship. It's nice to meet you too.
You've got an event coming up, and obviously want as many Wednesdayites there as possible.
Well, we've got a bit of an event coming up on Bank Holiday Monday, August the 31st, which will be held at the Ranch, who are hosting it. That's Thorncliffe Cricket Club out at Chapeltown.
Right.
Given that we've been back on the scene since last 5 years, then we've progressed. And I'll just mention a couple of sponsors, Wednesdayite to one, Money Mapper another, and we've gone from strength to strength. During that 5 years, we've won 2 championships and we've had 3 promotions, and it looks as though there's certainly a further promotion looming this year, and obviously as cricketing strength builds up. This Tom Marsden Trophy, which is partly to the benefit of Children's Hospital, has been on the go also for as long as the club's been relaunched. But obviously, because we wanted a competitive competition, then the competition has improved markedly year on year as we've gone on. This year we've got to a state where we thought, being the new upstarts on the block, so to speak, that we're in a position to take on some of the bigger clubs in Sheffield's cricketing history by inviting both Hallam and Sheffield United to attend it this year. So we've got the 4 teams involved, ourselves, Wednesday Cricket Club, Thorncliffe were the hosts and have been admirable hosts for the last 4 years. And then we've got Hallam Cricket Club, who've got a rich history themselves. And we've got Sheffield United Cricket Club, who were famous for throwing us out of Bramall Lane at one stage. So this will be the first game between Wednesday and United for I don't exactly know how long, but certainly more than 100 years.
My word. I mean, I'm all for keeping my arm's length, but that's a little bit overkill, isn't it, Nev? Oh, boy. So if people want to come down and see what's what, where is this event going to be held?
This event is at the ranch. It's a cricket ground down by Chapel Town roundabout there. And also, I might mention that along with our development, Sir Terry has agreed to take on our presidency.
Fantastic.
So Terry will be down there. This is TC of Boxing Day diving header fame. And if any of the kids around there want a photograph taken with one of the dads or even the granddad's heroes, then be down there. I'm sure that Mr. Curran will oblige.
So, of course, on the day as well, it sounds like you've got other things going off as well. Obviously, a wonderful cricketing time, but there's other things going off too.
Yeah, there'll be Rob, who's our host, Rob Pulley, out at Chapel Town. He's big on heavy rock, so as each of the players march out, they'll be marching out to their own signature tune. We've always got an ice cream van up there. There's hot dogs, hamburgers, raffles, lots of stuff for the kids to do. Even if it's only helping the adults.
Right, so ladies and gents, please do get yourself down and support our club. I would advise probably no bouncing and no "this city is ours" screaming, I would imagine, Nev. This is cricket, for goodness sake.
First and foremost, it's fun.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point of the day. So, Nev, thank you very, very much for taking the time to speak to me today.
Thanks very much, Your Lordship.
Right, so yeah, absolute pleasure speaking to Nev. So if you are at a loose end, Bank Holiday Monday, pop down and see the chaps. It's going to be, as Nev said there, the first time that Wednesday have played the United Cricket Club in around about 100 years, which is just fantastic. Right.
If they win, can we get a photo and put it on a billboard outside Bramall?
We'll have stickers. Now that is an edited version with my chat with Nev. I will be posting the full chat as well. Nev did speak a little bit about the history of the competition, the trophy. Really interesting stuff. We're posting that on a separate little interview all on its own. So yeah, keep an eye out for that too. So let's look forward to Reading then, ladies and gents. They've not had the best start to the season, Reading, all in all. What do we know about this lot?
I think this is a game that we need to win. And I know it makes it sound like we're at Christmas and we're struggling at the wrong half of the table and we could do it just to make ourselves a contender for playoffs. But no, I think it's a game we need to win to get back the fraud that we had 2 weeks ago before we played Ipswich. Because if you look at our upcoming fixtures, they're a bloody nightmare. We've got, I think after Reading, what we got then coming up, we've got, is it Leeds on the Saturday, and I think Burnley are coming up and Middlesbrough, and I think, Christ, this is one we need to win just so we have something to sing about for a few weeks, because these are some tough fixtures. And looking at Middlesbrough on Saturday, I don't fancy playing them in the slightest at the minute.
There's just one thing I'm not looking forward to, and that's Mr. Quinn. I just don't want to see his face. I don't need to see his face. I don't like his face. I don't need to see it. Stephen, just don't come. You're not welcome. Just don't bother.
Simple as that.
I wouldn't. See, now there's one. Right, Stephen, you're not on the list. That says it all.
Here's a new feature coming up that we're never going to reference.
Victoria's list.
Yeah.
Anyway, Reading. So it should be. I think I'm viewing it as what should be a straightforward win. And they were only in the Premier League like 2 years ago, was it? Like a couple of seasons ago, they were in the Premier League. So it's the kind of game where we need to be able to go out on Wednesday night, and we just need to be able to get those 3 points. It should be the kind of game that we expect to be a straightforward win. We need to bounce back. We need to see that they've got enough in their locker to be able to go out and just win that match. Maybe not 7-0, but you never know.
They've not had the most uplifting of starts, shall we say, Reading. Apparently they're going through a bit of a takeover themselves. Lady Sassima? No, nothing about them. Again, I think it's a Thai consortium.
Sounds like some kind of BBC Two period drama or something.
Again, going back to the start, they did sort of scrape by in the League Cup, played Colchester, and managed to sort of get by with a 116-minute extra time goal from Gunter. The loss against Birmingham in the League Cup, and they've drawn against Leeds 0-0 in what essentially was an utterly thrilling game. I've had a quick look at the highlights of that before we started this evening. There was 4 shots on target the whole game, and
fantastic.
One of those was from Reading. The other 3 were from Leeds. It really was a good old-fashioned 0-0. It really was an utterly despicable game, but what can you expect? Leeds are involved, so I think you're right, James. I think we should be really looking for a decent, good, strong performance and just getting this one out of the way.
Yeah, they've lost Adam Lafondra, so what do you expect? They're not going to score goals, are they?
I tell you what, I quite like Reading. Hang on, I'm going to give this a go. Pogregniak, Pub off Channel 4 telly. I'm a big fan of his because he's crap, and he's like a. And this is weird to say. He's like a big version of Adi Nuhu. Do you know what I mean?
A big version of him.
Yeah, he's a big version of him. He's just an absolute monster, and he's one of them that if anybody plays Sunday League football, you get that striker that's just massive, and you come across a centre back who again is just massive, and they kick the crap out of each other for 90 minutes, and we'll buy you a beer in the clubhouse after. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why, but I think he could cause us problems, but then our centre backs aren't exactly small. And I remember when we went to Reading, I think it was a couple of years ago now, and we beat them 2-0, and we had Benica Phoebe playing.
Oh, what a legend!
And I remember we absolutely schooled them that day as well. And I think it was one of those few games that Chris Maguire actually turned up and played for a shirt. And they didn't seem to have anything. Do you know what I mean? It just seemed to be going out and playing out the averages with them. And I just hope that's the Reading side that we come up against this week.
Absolutely. So we'll not do score predictions, I don't think, this week, ladies and gents, because quite simply we're chuffing rubbish at them. But I think we can all agree that we should be winning this one.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to be positive after such a drastic loss at the weekend.
Drastic. Call us out.
Call us out, exactly. Give us back the tuna. Get out. But I can see us doing it. I think 2-1 Wednesday.
Dare anybody else make? I mean, obviously I'm doing 7-0. That's to be expected. Fudge, dare you put your flappies where your mouth is?
3-0.
3-0. James?
I reckon it's a long way for them to come on a midweek, and I reckon we'll batter them.
Yeah, because they won't stay over the night before. It's not the championship or anything. They'll turn up in a camper van.
They don't.
Like James
Who'd do a thing
again.
like that?
They don't. I remember I went to watch Southampton and the Owls play 2 years ago, and it was back in the day we still had Morrison playing and JJ. It was about 3 years ago, and just before they went up to the Prem. And we drove down at 7 o'clock that morning. JJ had a face on all day because he didn't want to, and then was sat there ill on the coach or something, and then they literally just finish and get straight off back up. It was like that's a 17-hour round trip or something it were, and then they wonder why we got spanked 3-0. It was just bloody rubbish, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's what happens.
We couldn't afford hotel rooms back then, oh boy. We didn't have the tuna box back then.
We'll have a Hilton this time. Private accommodation. They'll be glamping. That's what they'll be doing.
They could have stayed at my
TPs.
flat. Could have come round. They could have stayed out. I've got a futon. They could have gone on there.
Oh, you are posh, Fudge.
I know.
Every Wednesday I've got a new romance now. He's been alone for ages, but he's our player now. He controls the midfield with total ease. Just give him the ball and watch his expertise. Oh, come on, St. Louis, do them with me. Just watch him get stuck in now. He's never lazy. He runs up, bend back. And he's not scared to have a crack. Whoa, whoa, watch him work his magic every game now. He may have a mohawk, but he's not insane now. Filling opposition with a sense of dread, pinging passes round like they are laser pointed. Oh, come on, sing Lewis McCugan with me. Lewis McCugan, come on. Lewis McCugan, come on. Lewis McCugan, come on. Right, so let's move on. James,
Hello.
may I see your little bits?
My bits for this week. I'm gonna start with it, and I'm hoping that everyone will have seen. There's been a few posts on Facebook and Twitter today about this young lad Billy, who's a young Wednesday fan. He's been quite poorly. He's had, doesn't sound very nice at all. He's had a problem where he's had kind of fluid on his brain. He's had to go undergo surgery a couple of times, and his sister and a few of his friends have posted on social media, just basically try and get him some get well soon messages from Wednesday players to kind of help cheer him up a bit. It's been great as well to see the club did a post earlier on for him and stuff like that. So I just wanted to kind of add our best wishes to him as well, and just say get well soon, Billy, and hope to see you back at Hillsborough soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Get well soon, Billy.
The other one, and we've got to pay reference to this, the other story that's been knocking around in the papers today, and why this has come around now, I don't know. But this couple who've mentioned that it cost them £17 to take their 7-month-old baby to Hillsborough. And the only reason I want to mention this is just to see what you think, because I don't know what I think about it.
Is that, I saw the headline, I didn't read the story. Is that per season or per game?
That's per game.
Per game? That's obscene.
It obviously depends on category, doesn't it? So on Wednesday night, it's a £5 for any under 17s?
Yeah, any juniors.
I did see quite a few people commenting on it saying, oh, she's too young anyway and this kid shouldn't be going. But I've been going since I was 3 months old. Like, it's not the end of the world. And if that's per game, that's disgusting.
I am a single man in my mid-30s and I genuinely don't care.
That's fair enough.
How can you claim to be single?
Well,
We've all met Mrs. Fudge.
Look, you've got a child there who has literally no idea what's going on. Now, if you want to take your kid to the football, that's how much it costs. I've got no preference on whether you take it or not. I've got no opinion on whether you should or you shouldn't or how much it is, but that's how much it is.
I think it's a hell of a lot of money to take a baby, and I don't think there should be no obstacle to taking a young child to a football match. They're the fans that are going to buy the tickets in 20, 30 years' time. And if you block them from going, I think it's disgusting that. If that's every game, that's absolutely disgusting.
Playing devil's advocate, I mean, Victoria, we had the conversation earlier about players that myself and the old people on the podcast remember. And obviously, you were probably at those games for a long time. And as you say, you just don't remember them. So, again, this is just me playing devil's advocate.
No.
I've took my children for a long time, and my dad took me, certainly. But, again, it's a lot of money, isn't it? £17 for something that's not going to be remembered. But, again, you can say that about anything at that sort of age, can't you?
You can, but, like I said, my parents used to take me. It was cheaper than getting a babysitter. It wasn't fair to leave me with my grandparents because they used to leave me there for away games. And it's something that families do. And I know, and you guys will all be the same. The minute you have your first child, they'll have a full Wednesday kit. And you'll be desperate to take them to their first match. And if that's going to cost you £17 with a newborn baby, that's obscene. Like, the kid's not costing anything to be there. They're not costing on policing. They're not costing on, stewarding. They're not costing anything to be there. They're not even costing a seat. They can sit on the mum's knee. Right. I think under 4s should be free.
And then where are they going to sit?
Well, either on the knee or on a chair. But, I mean, come on, we're not
up a chair. That's how much the chairs cost.
We're not selling out Hillsborough every week. It's not like the Etihad or something. We're not selling it out. Why not encourage young kids that in 20 years' time are going to be your season ticket holders? 30 years' time, they're going to be bringing their kids, who in 60 years' time will be their season ticket holders. If I hadn't have been there 27 years ago, I don't know if I'd be there today. And that has been instilled in me from day one. I had to go to the football. It was something that we did as a family. My dad worked 80 hours plus a week. I never saw him, but on a Saturday, we used to get together as a family. I'd get my full kit on and we'd go and sit at Hillsborough. And that is still now. I live next door to the ground, but on a Saturday, I see my mum and dad and we all go to the match together. And there's no one else involved. It's just us three. And so that, to me, is absolutely priceless.
Don't get me wrong. I love
yeah,
that.
He's backing
I genuinely
down
do.
now, look.
No, I got dragged as a kid. I used to get dragged to Millmore every week, and albeit, as soon as I turned 18, I was straight down the Tivoli, £10 for ladies, £15 for women, getting tanked up on all you can drink, getting thrown down those metal stairs down the back. Stays with you.
I've still got the scars myself, oh boy. But no, I agree. I mean, I shall be attending the match with my wonderful father on Wednesday night, and it's something that I don't get to do very much these days. Obviously, I'm not exactly a 7-month-old baby anymore, but I love that time with my dad. And you're quite right; it's a family thing, no matter how old you get. And I am getting pretty old, and it's nice to spend that time. So yes, the ticket prices. I don't think it's something that's going to go away this season. It is something that's going to be there the whole season. And again, I don't think it's something we're going to sort out on this program, but it's one of those things we're going to have to deal with, especially if we're aiming for Premiership. It really is as simple as that.
Eddie, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Your
lost,
kids were
Dad.
lovely that day. They were genuinely nice, and I thought it was great that you went with the family, Eddie. I apologize.
Could have been a completely different discussion had Hedwood been here.
One more thing. Many and varied drunken conversations that we had on Saturday throughout the day. One really good idea came out of it, and I think this is a brilliant idea. To stop all this silly early season rubbish, right? We ban league tables until Christmas. You're not allowed to publish them anywhere. So the only way you can work out whereabouts your team is, you've got to sit and do the maths yourself. I think that's a brilliant idea. It stops all this rubbish about how, oh, well, if we'd have won today, we'd have been fourth, which I heard someone say after the Ipswich match.
Really?
Seriously, I heard someone say that. So just ban all league tables until Christmas. If you want to know where you are in the table, you've got to get your fingers out, or those little counter things with the little things on your slide from one side to the other.
An abacus.
I don't use big words like that. I'm from Barnsley.
But on the downside to that, if we did that, we wouldn't have known that United were in the bottom three and we were in the top four.
Oh,
That's a good counter argument, that.
We'd have happily sat and worked that out, wouldn't we?
I definitely think a strongly worded letter to the Football League is in order, James, and I shall have my people on that ASAP. Okay, so another bit of correspondence we've had is from over there at Twitter at Jace_owl, referencing the size of Carlos's steady Victoria. The size of Carlos's name. Obviously, we've mentioned Sugu. Turns out that Carlos is no slouch in the name department itself. I shall hand you to our long name correspondent, James.
Okay, this one is quite easy. This is quite simple. It's Carlos Augusto Suarez de Costa Faria Calaval. Oh no, I messed it up. Hang on, second time lucky. Carlos Augusto Suarez de Costa Faria Cavalial. Cavalial.
Brilliant.
You pronounced that better than he did on the show. He just went like Carlos Cavalial.
Of course, we also over there on Football Focus. We had a bit of exposure, shall we say, over there on Football Focus. I'll be honest with you, I didn't see it myself. I was busy loading.
I've recorded it if you want to pop round.
I'm not on your list, am I?
Well, given how changeable the list is, Lord H, I'm sure you'll get on there one week.
But I mean, was there much else on the Football Focus piece?
I didn't. I work in commercial radio. I don't watch things on the BBC, obviously. No, it was quite good actually. I've got to say, Carlos came across really well, and fair enough. I watched it in the campervan on the way to Ipswich. Over the 4G, we don't have Wi-Fi in the campervan. You understand? I'm
shocked.
It was 4G, And obviously on the way down, we were full of optimism. And I do remember thinking, this guy, Carlos, he could well be our greatest manager ever. For the 2.5 minutes that the piece was on, I thought he could be our greatest manager ever. He came across really well. Even his cardigan came across really well.
Oh, that cardigan. Oof. Can we also shout out that Carlos follows us on Twitter?
Yes, I did
crazy.
enjoy that, by the way.
It was lovely to see. I think he does follow around about 8,000 other people.
That's irrelevant. It's Carlos, isn't it?
He follows the Wednesday Week because I tweeted him saying, would you like to come on? He didn't follow me. He just followed the podcast. 8,000 people, but not me. No.
Would you like a little bit of Wednesday Week trivia?
Fire away.
About the Football Focus show. So TV's Dan Walker, that presents the Football Focus, was Eddie's best man.
Really?
True story. Absolutely true story.
Wow.
So I bet you can bet who he supports, although he didn't make it too clear on Saturday. But yeah, he was Eddie's best man.
I've seen them speaking on Facebook. Actually, I did wonder what the story was there. He doesn't shout about it enough, to be fair. I think why
is a
we've
big
not had him
Wednesday
on
fan.
the show. He's not offered him up as a guest. Bloody hell, Eddie, put your finger out, man. We need the exposure.
The Wednesday Week is proud to be associated with Cavendish Cancer Care. Cavendish is a Sheffield charity dedicated to improving the quality of life for people living with cancer. No one should face cancer alone, so Cavendish provides emotional support through counselling and complementary therapies. The services they provide are free of charge and are funded through donations. If you can help or would like to find out more information, you can go to www.cavcare.org.uk. That's CAVCARE.org.uk. Right then, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that'll just about do it for today. Again, I'd like to thank all the Wednesday Weekers. That needs to change before I've even said it. I'm not happy with that at all. I had to thank everybody for joining us. James, thank you very much, first of all. And if people want to get a hold of you over there on the social medias and find out about the activities that happen in the campervan, where can we do that?
I'm not too happy about your phrasing of that, but you can find me on Twitter at James Marriott.
Fantastic. Fudgy old boy, where can we find you?
Sat on my settee trying to sleep off the last time I tried to play football, or at Dan Fudge on Twitter.
Fantastic. Victoria, if people want to see many, many pictures of your happy, wonderful, wonderful engagement, where can we find you?
No, thanks. It's at Victoria1867 on Twitter.
Fantastic. Of course, you can get hold of me over there on Twitter at Lord_H. That's L0RD_H. Do find out what Eddie's up to over there in France, and if he's managed to do his scouting missions, you can do that at Sausage Arms over there on Twitter too. Of course, follow the podcast like Carlos at TWWcast on Twitter as well. Of course, you can find us on Facebook. Again, we've had a lot of subscribers to the YouTube channel, so thank you very, very much for that, everybody. It really does our numbers wonderfully well. I would like to apologise to our iTunes subscribers. We've had an iTunes issue. To be honest, we're getting a bit too big for us boots over there. So we will let you know when that's back up and running again. Of course, you can get us over there on Mixcloud as well. And that's around about it. Do obviously pop us an email as well, just like Steve did earlier on if you want to. That's over there at twwpodcast@gmail.com. Right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and be good, be safe, and we shall see you next week.
There's a chance here. A great save.